In this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips for creating lasting confidence. Okay, tip number 1, make a plan and follow it through. When you make a plan and follow it through successfully, it gives you faith in your abilities. Of course, success builds success and confidence leads to greater confidence. And it doesn't have to be a grand plan to begin with, just something that you're sure you can do, and then go and do it. And then you can go on to tackle more difficult tasks. Okay, tip number 2. Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? And when you ask yourself this, you get a clearer picture of the risks involved. And quite often, they're a lot lower than you think. So weigh up the risks, ask yourself what's the worst thing that could happen, and if you don't have a lot to lose, then go for it. Go out and do whatever you're thinking about doing. Now, on the other hand, if you do have a lot to lose, then see how you can spread the risk and keep your losses to a minimum. Okay, tip number 3. Don't dwell on past failures. Nobody gets everything right 100% of the time. And you will fail every so often. Everybody does. It is part of human nature. Nobody gets it right all the time. So don't dwell on this. Simply learn from the experience and move on. Now, a good example of this is WD-40. I'm sure you've seen the product. It's used as a lubricant and as a means of stopping metal from going rusty. But did you know why it's called WD-40? Well, WD-40 stands for Water Dispersal Perfected at the 40th Try. So the guys behind WD-40 got it wrong 39 times. They failed 39 times, and it was only on the 40th attempt that they managed to pull it off. But they still managed to create a great product that's being sold more than 60 years after it was invented. Okay, tip number 4, feel good about yourself. Now, I don't know you, but I'm sure you are a unique, special, and valuable person. And you deserve to feel good about yourself. So, wear nice clothes. Pay attention to your personal hygiene. Do things that you enjoy doing, things that make you feel good. And above all else, smile. Because a smile is contagious. When you feel good and you're smiling, and people will consider you to be a confident person and they will treat you accordingly. Tip number 5 is to avoid negative, self-doubting thoughts that you may have about yourself. I mean, everybody gets them from time to time, but you really shouldn't dwell on them. And don't go around saying negative things to yourself. Don't go around saying, I'm a loser, or I never do anything right, or nobody really likes me. I'll never make any money, and so on and so on and so on. Well, stop. Just as confidence leads to more confidence, negativity leads to more negativity. So you want to practice positive affirmation instead, because when you feel confident, when you feel good about yourself, when you have confidence in your abilities, then that comes across and it makes you more confident as you go along. Okay, tip number 6 is to avoid manipulative people who might seek to take advantage of your low self-esteem. We've all come across them in our lives, and they're people to be avoided because, sadly, these people know what buttons to push to make you feel worse about yourself and to get you to do what they want in the process. Any relationship must be mutually beneficial. And unfortunately, there are some people around who will know exactly what your weak points are. They'll know exactly how to manipulate you into doing what they want. And it's a win-lose situation as far as you're concerned. And I'm afraid generally you find yourself on the losing part of that argument. So if you find that you're around someone like that, someone who's manipulating you by taking advantage of low self-esteem, then you want to drop them from your life as soon as possible. Okay, tip number 7 is do something nice for others. And it doesn't have to be a big deal, just something, a little something every day, nice for other people. So, for example, you could go and visit someone you haven't seen for a while. You might strike up a conversation with a neighbor. You could spend more time with friends and family. You could offer to do someone a favor. You could get involved in activities that help other people, anything like that. Because doing someone a good turn makes you feel good. And when you feel good, you feel more confident. And tip number 8 is to use your imagination. Your mind is a powerful instrument. It really is. And when you use it properly, when you use your imagination in a positive way, you can use it to visualize the outcome that you desire. And in so doing, you break out of your own self-imposed limitations. I'm sure you've heard the expression, fake it till you make it. Well, be like an actor playing the role of a confident person. And before you know it, you'll get so used to it, you'll become that person for real. Okay, tip number 9 is banish bad memories. Bad stuff happens to all of us, but you don't have to dwell on it. Making yourself angry over perceived injustices in the past, well, quite frankly, it just serves no useful purpose at all. And the past doesn't equal the future. Just because something bad happened to you in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean that history is going to repeat itself unless you let it. So, just like in tip number 3, learn from the experience and then move on. And finally, tip number 10 is to be true to yourself. Understand that what works for others won't necessarily work for you, and vice versa. And a good way to understand yourself and to be true to yourself is to read up on things like psychology and get a better understanding of how the brain works. And you should also use neuro-linguistic programming, otherwise known as NLP, to reinforce positive messages. And when you're true to yourself, when you are the person that you think you should be, then you'll find yourself much more confident. So there we go, 10 tips on how to improve and boost your confidence.